Hey everyone, welcome to another dog powered fun video. Today I'm going to show you how to turn your 4-foot tug line into a 4-foot bungee. For this we're going to need our 4-foot tug line that we made. We're going to need our 3/8 fid, hog ring pliers, hog rings, shrink tube, electrical tape, a lighter, and 5/16 bungee. Okay, so we've made our 4-foot tug line. What we're going to do now is we need to feed the bungee inside the line. To find out how much bungee we need to measure from the ends of our tails. We can feel where they end inside to the end of the line. We've doubled up. So it's 18, and then you add 6 inches. Okay, so now we've got to get the bungee inside the line. So this is where I take my larger fid and just coming in at the where I can feel the tail. I'm just coming underneath of that, and basically I'm just stretching the line. Okay, so we're going to take one end of our bungee and we're going to feed it through the hole. And this is where some patience can come in, because sometimes it gets stuck on the strands inside. So it's just a matter of patiently feeding the line in. A lot of times if you scrunch up the line ahead of it, it feeds through easier. Okay, so once you have your line fed through, make sure that you don't let the other end slip into the rope. Now, you want to find where you've bumped up against the tail. You're just gonna gently move the strands aside. So you can pop the bungee out. So just like in the other videos, we're going to bring the bungee around behind the line. We're going to make a horseshoe. We want to try to make our horseshoe as small as we can, but still large enough that we're going to be able to pull this rope back through. So I've come underneath. You want to give that a good squeeze. Come back over top. You can see that has done a really nice job. I always like to do a second hog ring, so I go a little bit further down. So the bungee is now secure. What I like to do is wrap a little bit of electrical tape around that. So I like to wrap a little bit of electrical tape around. And then we're going to pull the rope through the little horseshoe we made to make sure this is flat against the bungee. Okay, so we have one end of our bungee fastened. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other end. So you can pull the bungee out, give yourself enough to work with. We're going around behind the line. And we're making a horseshoe. Now there are many ways of making bungees and lines. This is just one way. Okay, and we're bringing our hog ring plier and ring underneath. You can see we got a really good fastening on that. And I always like to do a second. That would be fine that way, but I like to do two. So coming underneath again. You can see that this bungee is fastened securely. It's going nowhere. So then again, I'll wrap a little bit of electrical tape around. And we pull our rope through the loop we made with the little horseshoe, and we want it flat and tight. And you could leave it at this stage. It would work fine. I like to do shrink tube over top. Protects the bungee and it makes it look a little bit nicer. So we'll do that next. So you're probably thinking, well, how much shrink tube do I use? Well, you want a little bit on each side. So what I do is I usually just put it over top and then give it a little bit. And do the same. I'll just usually cut two the same. So now I have my shrink tube. I'm going to feed it the line through it. And this is 18mm shrink tube, 2:1, so it will shrink half its diameter. So now we have our shrink tube placed on. And then a tip I gave in a previous video is always cut a little more shrink tube. I then cut it down one side so it opens up. And I'll use this at the ends to help protect the line from any accidental melting from the lighter. Now, you can use a heat gun, you can use a blow dryer. I know people have had success with both of those. I still use a lighter. I have melted several lines by not being as careful as I could be. But just use whatever you're comfortable with. So let's get on to And this is a stage that you don't want to rush. Take your time. And usually I have several lighters because they get hot. And so what I take is my spare piece of shrink tube, and I will wrap it around one end, and I'll feed it into and underneath the shrink tube. This protects the line if I get a little carried away and go past the shrink tube. So let's get started. And you will find the sweet spot for your distance for when the shrink tube starts to shrink. And you don't want to stay in one spot too long. I like to think of my shrink tube here as a rotisserie chicken. You want to keep it rotating. So that's one end of our bungee line shrink tube. We'll do the exact same on the other side. So I've shrink tubed the other side. So my 4-foot bungee is done. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Have a good day.